Here in the Lakers Report by Chat Sports, we're bringing you year-round Lakers coverage. So as we get closer and closer to 40,000 subscribers, type 40 in the comments section. And if you want the best Lakers coverage right here on YouTube, hit that red subscribe button, because once we hit that milestone, shoot, I might drink a 40 right here on the show. What up, Laker Nation? Welcome into the Lakers Report right here on Chat Sports. I am your host, Chase Sr. Hit me up. Give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Sr. Coming up on today's show, does the inevitable signing of DeAndre Jordan mean that Marc Gasol is going to get traded? Let's dive into these rumors. So we covered this over the weekend on Friday night. I did a video from the crib. That's another reason why you subscribe to the Lakers Report, because whether I'm at the studio here or at the house, we bring you all of the latest Lakers coverage. And we had mentioned that according to Shams Charania, Adrian Wojnarowski, DeAndre Jordan does plan on signing with the Los Angeles Lakers. He had a really busy Friday, was traded from the Nets to the Detroit Pistons. Once he went to Detroit, he agreed to a buyout, and once he clears waivers, he is going to hop on board the Los Angeles Lakers. His contract details pretty much make it impossible for him to sign or get claimed by any other team across the National Basketball Association. As for what Jordan did last year in Brooklyn alongside Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden, he was really good. Not the player that he was once in his prime, but still a very productive player. 7.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds. He's still a very elite shot blocker, shot a ridiculous 76.3% from the floor. He shoots primarily around the rim, but is very efficient. As for what Jordan did in a really impressive stretch from 2013 to 2019 with the Los Angeles Clippers, when he solidified himself as one of the best two-way centers in the NBA, these numbers are actually pretty crazy. A shade under 12 points per game, a ridiculous 14 rebounds any given night. He was blocking almost 2 shots a night as well, and shot 68% from the floor. He's put up historic record-breaking field goal percentage numbers throughout his entire NBA career, and he's going to be able to do that with the Lakers because he's going to have opportunities to put the biscuit in the basket alongside so many stars on this team, with LeBron James and Anthony Davis as the headliners. Some of his career accolades: he's a very good story, a 2008 second-round pick out of Texas A&M. He's been in the league now 13 seasons, going on his 14th. In 2016, he was an All-NBA first team, also made an all-star game that year. And as for what he's going to bring to the floor for the Lakers, a quality depth piece who is going to rebound the basketball, give you a good defensive prowess down low, and he's going to block a bunch of shots. I like the depth signing of DeAndre Jordan because he's not expected to be a starter like he was earlier on in the season last year for the Brooklyn Nets. He's simply not that player anymore, and I've been asked this question: how is DeAndre Jordan washed already in his early 30s? Maybe he's not washed athletically, but I said the game has passed him by because he's somewhat limited and a one-way player offensively, because he's a career 45% free throw shooter, doesn't stretch the floor at all, can't give you any type of a shooting presence, and really, he just hovers around the rim offensively and defensively. But in terms of him giving you energy, rebounding, blocking shots, throwing down some dunks on a two-man game or a little pick and roll action, Jordan, he's going to be able to bring that to the Lakers, which is why I like this signing a bit. Plus, $2.5 million, that's certainly a bargain. What are your expectations for DJ before we get to these Marc Gasol trade rumors? Type H for high, type L for low. Get those votes in the comment section down below. Is Marc Gasol on his way out? We teased it off the top. Let's get to it right now. He has a year left on his contract. He's one of the only guaranteed contracts going into this offseason. Obviously, that has now changed with the flurry of offseason moves that Rob Pelinka and GM LeBron James made in free agency. And this has stemmed his unhappiness back to when the Lakers brought in Andre Drummond once he reached that buyout with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Lakers were able to bring in Drummond. At that time, Gasol was not happy with his playing time after the Lakers had signed the other AD, because Drummond was getting more minutes than Marc Gasol. Gasol was kind of out of the rotation, not starting any games any longer and was coming in off the bench and not getting a lot of minutes. So it was that on top of the fact that Marc Gasol didn't reach the expectations that were put on him when he signed with the Lakers after that really nice run with the Toronto Raptors, after making multiple All-Star games with the Memphis Grizzlies. Last year with LA, he had the worst season of his career by far. Lowest points per game output, lowest rebounds per game output. He only shot 45.4% from the deck. He was pretty good defensively, giving the Lakers about a block per night, but wasn't putting up the numbers that maybe a lot of Laker fans had hoped or expected from him, because from 2009 to 2020, Marc Gasol was one of the best big men across the league. Last year, that was simply not the case. When he was with the Grizzlies, when he was with the Raptors, helped them win that NBA championship alongside Kawhi Leonard and Kyle Lowry a couple years ago, he was excellent as a two-way center who could stretch the floor, knock down some threes, and these averages over the span of more than a decade were very, very good at 14.5 points, 7.5 rebounds. Certainly the blocks and the field goal percentage were respectable numbers as well. As for this Marc Gasol potential trade, it looks as though it's going to happen. The big question is, when is it going to happen? According to The Athletic, this is what they had to say about Marc Gasol, DeAndre Jordan, how each player fits on the roster, and if Gasol is going to get dealt. The signing likely spells the end of Marc Gasol's tenure with the Lakers, as said in The Athletic, as there is a clear logjam, at the position, and Gasol is already considered not returning. The move could also be a sign that Anthony Davis is finally willing to start at center, as Howard and Jordan are both better suited for limited backup roles at this stage of their respective careers and would clog up the Lakers' spacing next to Russell Westbrook. You also have Dwight Howard on this roster as well. So could it just be the simple fact that you have Dwight Howard, now you have DeAndre Jordan, and Anthony Davis is willing to play more five? Is there not a role on this team for Marc Gasol? And if he was unhappy about getting less playing time after the Lakers had signed Andre Drummond last year, looks as though maybe he's not going to get much time at all under Frank Vogel now that Dwight Howard is back and you have DeAndre Jordan, both of them maybe a little bit more athletically spry than a Marc Gasol. This is also what I'm thinking, and we talked about this a lot here on the channel, that Anthony Davis has said he's more willing to play the center spot, the true five, this upcoming season than he has been in previous years, when he really was more comfortable and preferred playing the four, because in high school he grew up as a guard. Then he had that growth spurt, wasn't used to playing center, and since he came into the league, he's primarily played the four spot. But when you examine and look at and dissect the roster construction on the Lakers, it makes a lot of sense to have Anthony Davis at the five, which then also doesn't really open up an opportunity for Marc Gasol to play on this team. And AD at the five certainly presents Frank Vogel with a lot of different options. Your starters are going to be, regardless, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. Those two more spots left in that starting five are up for grabs, so to speak. You can go with a Wayne Ellington. You can go with a Trevor Ariza. You can go with a Kendrick Nunn or Malik Monk. There's a lot of lineup versatility, mixing and matching that's going to go on from Frank Vogel. And when you have AD at the five, that's what allows that versatility to take place, depending on which lineups you want to try it out there as far as what opponents you're going to be taking on during any given game of the regular season. So I say all of that, and I want to pose this question before we dip on out of here. Do you want the Lakers to trade Gasol after seeing that report from The Athletic and hearing some of my reasoning? Type T for trade, type P for pass. Once again, get those votes in and chime in the comment section down below. We love when all of you sound off, and as always, thanks for watching us here on the Lakers Report.